How you doing? I'm Darren with Kickin BBQ. If this is your first time to the channel, then welcome. If you've been here before, then welcome back. Today I have another awesome and super quick game day recipe for you. We are going to be cooking up some queso fundido con chorizo, which roughly translated means melted cheese with chorizo. Now, I got this recipe idea from my buddy John over at Crazy Gringo Barbecue. I'll have a link to his Instagram below, along with his video recipe for this. Go ahead and check it out. He has some awesome cooks on there, and he does a really nice job. Tell him that I sent you over there. Give him a follow. I would really appreciate that. Now, in doing some research on this, it's typically made while you're waiting for other meats to get done as a nice little snack. And basically, you can get away with two ingredients, chorizo and Oaxaca cheese. Now, Oaxaca cheese is basically mozzarella. You can use low moisture mozzarella in a pinch if you can't find the Oaxaca, but I know Walmart's have it. I got it at my local grocery store. This is what it looks like when you get it. I went ahead and shredded a pound of it. I don't know how much we're gonna be using, but I have a pound of chorizo, and nobody wants the meat to cheese ratio off when they're eating queso. Also, typically, this is served with warmed up flour tortillas. Now, I did make some homemade tortillas. I'll have the link down below to the recipe that I followed. I'm not real good at baking, so we're not showing that portion of it. It's pretty self-explanatory. Of course, you can also use chips. So I am really looking forward to trying this. I love cheese, and I love chorizo, and I love queso. So I think it's gonna be really, really good, or at least as good as a white boy from Minnesota can make it. So I don't know. Like I said, I love Mexican food. I love trying all sorts of new things. So this is what we're going with today. Like I said, you get away with two ingredients. We're gonna add these fire roasted jalapenos as a little garnishment, and you can also slice them up and throw them in the tortilla if you want. It's completely up to you. Make it your own. I've even seen recipes where they add some fire roasted, poblanos or fire roasted rotel to it. This is just a nice base. Add it with what you will. I'm not claiming this to be authentic, but I think it's gonna be really good. Another thing I wanted to mention is if you wanted to pre-cook the chorizo and add it to a crock pot, you could probably get away with doing that. You can do it on the stove top and then throw it in the oven. It's a beautiful fall day here in Minnesota, so we are gonna be cooking out on the S&S kettle. So I'm just gonna bring you in, show you what we're working with here, and then we're gonna get outside. We're gonna get to cooking. This should maybe take 30 minutes start to finish, providing you have everything ready to go. And yeah, it's gonna be good. Let's come in and check out our ingredients here. All right, so here is our chorizo right here. I just got this from the grocery store. I wish I could have gone down to like a Mercado and gotten actually like coarse ground, which is what my buddy John recommended. But hey, you gotta work with what you got, and this is what I got. So this is the Oaxaca cheese. As you can see, very similar to mozzarella. Like I said, in a pinch, you can use the low moisture mozzarella, but if you can find the Oaxaca, just find it. It's pretty readily available. And then this is what a pound of Oaxaca cheese looks like after I grated it. This is just to help it melt quicker. I know that you can peel it off in chunks and throw it in there and melt it. This is just to kind of speed up that recipe a little bit. And then we have two jalapenos. Like I said, if you have some poblanos you want to roast and do that and add it to it, go for it. This is supposed to be a base. Make the food your own. You don't have to follow recipes for, verbatim. You can add things and experiment with things. That's what makes cooking fun. And then you're gonna have a cast iron skillet. This is just a basic Lodge cast iron skillet. And then I have the drip and griddle pan from S&S Kettles. This is what we're gonna be cooking the chorizo on. And then we will add it to this pan, add our cheese, and we're gonna let it go for a few minutes on the screaming hot grill. Again, like I said, you could cook this on the stovetop, add it to the cast iron, throw it in the oven at 400 degrees, and let it go until it's all bubbling and delicious. We're doing it outside. It's a gorgeous day out. So yeah, so anyways, let's get outside. I have the S&S kettle getting going here. I have a chimney full of the Jealous Devil, the big briquettes. And so we're gonna get that dumped. We're gonna get this griddle hot. We're gonna get our chorizo cooked. And from there, it's basically just waiting for it to get bubbly and delicious. So let's get outside at the S&S kettle right now. All right, so here are our Jealous Devil briquettes. You can see they're starting to ash over. It's a good time to dump them right now. So that's what we're gonna do. And I apologize if there's a little bit of wind today. I cannot find the dead cat for my microphone, so bear with me here. All right, we're just gonna get these coals spread out evenly so we can get the grate on here. like so. Then we will get our grate on, and we're going to get the dripping griddle on. And actually what I think I'm going to do is spin this like that. That way we can get this thing heated up real nice. It's already starting to heat up. So I'm going to let this griddle heat up with the lid closed, and then we'll get the chorizo on and get that cooking, and I'll bring you back. See you then. All right, so we've gone ahead and let this griddle heat up a little bit. Just gonna pull that off. You can see, yeah, she's warm. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna take some oil and put this down just so the chorizo doesn't stick to the dripping griddle here. Then we'll take the chorizo, open that up. We're just gonna throw this down. We're gonna let it sear on that side for a little bit, let it get some nice color, then we'll flip it, sear the other side. If you guys aren't searing off your meat before you break it up, definitely do that. Adds a nice layer of flavor to it, gets that Maillard reaction, and just adds a little bit more depth to what you're searing off before you break it up. So highly recommend that. And while this is searing off, I'm gonna go and put the cast iron skillet over here so that can start preheating. Again, that is just to help heat this up so that cheese will melt a lot quicker. Like I said, this recipe, if you do it like this or on your stovetop, really shouldn't take you more than 30 minutes. And yeah, it's gonna be amazing. All right, so it's been a couple minutes. We're gonna check the bottom of this, see how the sear's coming along. Not terrible. Could have been a little bit better, a little bit darker. So we're just gonna let this side go a little bit longer. The thing about chorizo is when you cook it, it doesn't really change color like ground meat does. So you just wanna make sure you cook it thoroughly and complete. All right, let's check on this chorizo. That is looking really good. We're gonna start breaking this up here just so we can get it all cooked evenly. All right, we'll get this covered up and just let it cook a little bit longer. All right, it's been a couple minutes. We're gonna check on the chorizo. It should be done by about now. The nice thing about doing it out on the kettle here, you're gonna get that nice charcoal flavor from these coal burnings, and it's just gonna add a little bit more flavor to this dish. So let's check in on it. And that is looking really good. Definitely looks like it's done to me. You can see it's still pretty coarse. I'm actually pretty happy with that. It's not just small chunks like what you get out of the tubes around here. So I'd say that this being a little coarser definitely played out well for us. Just get a little bit more cookage on here. All right, so that is looking really good. What we're gonna do is we're just gonna scoop this up and throw it in this cast iron skillet here. You're gonna wanna reserve some of this for topping, but the majority of it is going to go in to the skillet. Just like that. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna top this with some of the Oaxaca cheese, like so. And use as much or as little as you like. I'm not judging you on your cheese consumption, but to me, if you're making queso, you gotta have a lot of cheese. So there's that. Come in with just a little bit more here. And then the rest of this, we're just gonna save to use as a topping. But we are going to add a little bit more of the Oaxaca cheese. Like I said, this was a pound of Oaxaca and a pound of chorizo. So I think a 1-to-1 ratio is going to be pretty good. If you want to use more chorizo, use that. You want to use more of the Oaxaca, use that. It's completely up to you. So now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna remove this dripping griddle and let it cool. I'm just gonna keep this chorizo for topping on top of there. That way it stays warm. And then I'm gonna shut this down and I'm gonna let this start melting. It's probably gonna take about 15-20 minutes to get the right consistency, but you wanna get everything nice and incorporated. So I'm gonna get this off, get this shut down, let it go for about 20 minutes, and I'll bring you back, we'll check in. All right, so it has been about 20 minutes. We're gonna go ahead and check on the queso fundido con chorizo. And oh my gosh, check that out. Bubbling, looking so dang good. All we got left to do is we're gonna roast these jalapenos over the open fire. You can see we got the chorizo, we got everything melted nicely. That is what I want. While these are toasting off, I'm gonna go ahead and get this off and let it cool down a little bit so we can dig into it when it's time to do the taste test. Check that out, looking nice and toasty right there. I'm gonna let this other side finish off a little bit, and then we're gonna jump in and we are going to do the taste test. I cannot wait. So I will meet you in the house and we'll dive into this. All right, so here is our queso fundido con chorizo, and I gotta say, it looks fantastic. Now, if you go and check out my buddy John's recipe, his looks a little more creamy, so this might have gone a little too long on the cooker. Either way, I think it's gonna be fantastic. Right here, I have the homemade tortillas, and I did these all by hand. I didn't have a rolling pin, but hey, you know what? Not too bad. Again, white boy from Minnesota. So I'm chalking that up as a win. We'll get those covered up. And then what you're supposed to do is you can either break off a piece of tortilla, use a chip, whatever, and you just go in like this, from what I've seen, and you pull that out. Check out that nice cheese pull right there. And then you're just gonna tuck this in like so. So it's almost like a little roll up. And there you go. Look at that. Looks amazing. Still steaming hot, but you know what? We're doing the taste test because I cannot wait to try this. Been thinking about it all week long. Let's do it. All right, it is the moment of truth. We got the cheese hanging. Let's do this. This is absolutely amazing. I think the homemade tortillas just make it even better. Excuse me. You got the wonderful flavor from the chorizo. You got the creaminess from the Oaxaca cheese. The tender, pliable, homemade tortillas, nice smokiness from those charcoal briquettes. This is top notch. Now you can top this with salsa or avocado salsa or hot sauce, whatever you want, but honestly, this is fantastic just the way it is. Like I said, super simple, super quick, and honestly, if I wasn't filming, I guarantee I could have had this done in 30 minutes, not including the time to cook the tortillas. But hey, lights out. So yeah, that is lights out. I'll be making this for sure again. So easy, so simple, so delicious. Thanks again to my buddy John over at Crazy Gringo Barbecue. Like I said, link down in the description for his Instagram and his short cooking this with his full recipe. It is awesome. Guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, be sure to like, subscribe, ring that bell, stay safe, and we will see you next time.